सुदेवाय ओम नमो ते सुदेवाय सुदेव
Maybe you can be closer to mic. Your voice is fading some.
Give me a second, bro. I'll take a headphone. Just give me a second. Hare Krishna, bro. It's better now?
Hare Krishna, yes, bro.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयाम् उदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी. So good morning, devotees. So today we are going to read from 4th canto, chapter 8, verse 79 and 80. So verse 79. Yadaikapadena sa parthivavarabhakas tastau tad anghushta nipiditamahi nanama tatradhama ibhendradhishtita tariva savyetarataha pade pade. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. As Dhruv Maharaj, the king's son, kept himself steadily standing on one leg, the pressure of his big toe pushed down half the earth, just as an elephant being carried on a boat rocks the boat left and right with his every step. Purport. The most significant expression in this verse is Parthiva Arbhakaha, son of the king. When Dhruv Maharaj was at home, although he was a king's son, he was prevented from getting on the lap of his father. But when he became advanced in self-realization or devotional service, by the pressure of his toe, he could push down the whole earth. That is the difference between ordinary consciousness and Krishna consciousness. In ordinary consciousness, a king's son may be refused something even by his father. But when the same person becomes fully Krishna conscious within his heart, he can push down the earth with the pressure of his toe. One cannot argue how is that Dhruv Maharaj, who was prevented from getting up on the lap of his father, could press down the whole earth. This argument is not very much appreciated by the learned, for it is an example of Nagna Matrika logic. By this logic, one would think that because his mother in her childhood was naked, she would remain naked even when she is grown up. The stepmother of Dhruva Maharaj might have been thinking in a similar way. Since she had refused to allow him to get up on the lap of his father, how could Dhruva perform such wonderful activities as pressing down the whole earth? She must have been very surprised when she learned that Dhruva Maharaj, by concentrating constantly on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, could press down the entire earth like an elephant who presses down the boat on which it is loaded. Tasmin abhidhyayati vishvam atmano dvaram nirudhyasum ananyaya dhiya lok niruchvasa nipidita vrisham salokapala sharanam yayur harim. Translation: when Dhruva Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and his closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up, and all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and thus took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: when hundreds of persons are sitting in an aeroplane, although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the aeroplane, which runs at thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. As explained in the previous verse, Dhruva Maharaj, because of his spiritual advancement, became almost the total heaviness, and thus he pressed down the whole earth. Moreover, by such spiritual power, his unit body becomes the total body of the universe. Thus, when he closed the holes of his unit body to firmly concentrate his mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all the units of universe, namely all the living entities, including the big demigods, felt the pressure of suffocation, as if their breathing were being choked. Therefore, they all took shelter of Supreme Personality of Godhead because they were perplexed as to what had happened. This example of Dhruv Maharaj closing the holes of his personal body and thereby closing and breathing holes of the total universe clearly indicate that a devotee, by his personal devotional service, can influence all the people of the whole world to become devotees of the Lord. If there is only one pure devotee in pure Krishna consciousness, he can change the total consciousness of the world in Krishna consciousness. That is not very difficult to understand if you study the behavior of Dhruva Maharaj. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam pangvam langayate girim yat kripatavaham vande Shri Guru Deenatarinam namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine. I would like to seek blessings from all the Vaishnavas. Please bless me so that I can speak something regarding this matter. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So today I heard a lecture given by His Holiness Romapa Swami Maharaj at St. Louis in 2012. So as we all know, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 16, Krishna says, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukruti no arjuna artho jigyasu artharti jnani cha bhartarshava. What it means is there are four kinds of pious people who approach Lord. Like Artho is one who is distressed. Jigyasu, which Jigyasu means one who is inquisitive to know something. Artharti is who is in wanting of some material gain. And Gyani is the one who is in knowledge, right? So these kind of four people approach God, right? And we all know that Artharti, the example of Artharti, usually it's referred to an example of Dhruv Maharaj. We all know that Dhruv Maharaj had a material motivation, um, but by executing devotional service as given by Narada Muni, his guru, Narada Muni, by executing very enthusiastically, as Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, Utsaha Nishchaya Dhairyat Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Sato Vritte Shadbir Bhakti Prasidyati. As we can analyze the life of Dhruva Maharaj, he did everything with enthusiasm, determination, and he performed it in the presence, not in the presence of any uh, non-devotees. So he was actually determined and he was by himself. And by doing so, he actually developed the bhakti. So when one executes these the devotional service so enthusiastically, determinedly, and following Guru's instruction properly, what happens? What happens is the result is also given by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion. Uh, the first wave of Eastern Division, verse 17. Kleshagni Shubhada, Moksha Lagutakrit, Sudurlabha, Sangrananda Visheshatma, Krishna Akarshani. So these are the 6 lakshanas you would expect when one executes a devotional service. What happens? The first thing that happens is Klesha Agni. So whatever the material suffering that you are, that gets destroyed. All the anarthas gets destroyed. Shubhadha. Shubhadha means it provides auspiciousness. And if we expand the Shubhada, Shubhada includes various levels. One of that is the highest material happiness. You can get the highest of all. So as you can see, as Dhruva Maharaj executed all his devotional service, he also was awarded Shubhada. When Lord Vishnu appeared, Lord Krishna appeared, obviously the other 4 limbs are like the 4 other things are moksha lagutagrit, so the moksha becomes insignificant, and sudurlabha sangrananda visheshatma, what it means is uh, the extreme blissfulness. One experience so much bliss that we cannot compare with anything in this material world. And then finally Krishna Akarshini means it attracts Lord Krishna. So when Krishna comes and uh, presents in before Dhruva Maharaj, what does he do? He not only fulfills the material desire of Dhruva Maharaj to become uh, the owner of the planet which is highest of all, like including his grandfather Brahma. So that is also got fulfilled. At the same time, he was awarded with the devotional service, the love of Godhead, which is the highest of all. So in other words, when we have an effort, when we do effort with a firm consciousness, wishing that we want to make connection with Krishna, we can attract the mercy of Krishna. This is exactly the example of Damodar Leela pastime too. By Yashoda Maiya's determination and firm fixed devotional service, she was able to attract the mercy of Krishna. Then that's only how she was able to bind little Krishna, right? So this is exactly what happens in Dhruva Maharaj's story. So in these 2 purports, Srila Prabhupada explains like one of the intermediate step before achieving the firm pure devotional service. What happens is Dhruva Maharaj, as he focused completely on Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as we all know, Krishna is Antaryami, and he resides in the hearts of everyone, but especially in those who are his devotees. So Krishna started manifesting in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj. And as we all know, Krishna has the whole universe within himself. So as Dhruva Maharaj uh, meditated more and more, the Krishna manifested more and more, and gradually became as heavy as Lord Vishnu himself. And because of which, he was able to press down the earth just by his fingernail. And at the same time, he would also, as he was controlling his breath, he could actually choke up the the whole earth. So this is what happens when one execute devotional service. Even though we have some sakama in us, we do execute with sakama, but by properly executing with a proper consciousness that we want to attract the mercy of Krishna, we want to do it for the pleasure of our Guru or Krishna, then we become Nishkama. And with the Nishkama, we also attract the mercy of Krishna. So the other thing, what Prabhupada has explained in this purport is a devotee, by his personal devotional service, not only benefits himself, but he can also benefit the whole world. He can influence all the people of whole world to become devotees of Lord Krishna. So we can understand from the example, right? So how a devotee like Srila Prabhupada, he could, just by his example, he could transform the whole world. So when he came to United States, he came pretty much with penniless, but look at now. He could go around the whole world 14 times in less than 10 years and then establish 108 temples and thousands of disciples. And from thousands of disciples, now even millions of devotees are coming into existence. So it all started with one pure devotee. And despite the presence of him, he also creates all the auspiciousness. We know the example, right, where Srila Prabhupada, I think probably Vamshi Gopal Prabhu just shared recently, if I remember correctly. So he shared this example of Srila Prabhupada. So there's a Navy admiral in Russia, and there's a Cold War situation during the time. And then this Navy admiral was about to launch attack on USA, and there was all uncertainty and chaosity, thinking that the attack, counter attack, and that's going to take so many people's lives. And these were all the things that were going in the admiral's mind. Should I not? Because that is not good for humanity and all that. We are going to kill so many people, and this is all going in his mind. And suddenly, he gets a call just about the last moment. He was about to press the button. He gets a call saying that stop the mission. We don't need to do that. And then later on, after a few years, 20, 30 years, when he was some or other, he was gifted Prabhupada Leelamrit, and he was reading, and then he actually looked the date of Srila Prabhupada when he arrived at USA, landed at the Boston. Um, so that date coincided with the date when the mission was aborted. So you can see that just by presence of one devotee, it can change the whole world. In fact, the world is surviving because the devotees are of that caliber are still existing. So, and also this is an inspiration for us to actually to become more and more better and better devotees. And by becoming a devotee, we are actually helping the world in a humanitarian way, in the spiritual way, in the best way possible. So that's why we have to attempt to extend our capacity to serve others, like to do Harinam or to distribute books or distribute prasadam. And by doing so, Lord Chaitanya will be happy. And when Lord Chaitanya will be happy, he will give us mercy. And with this mercy, we can become more and more capable. And those things will multiply again and again and attain the devotional service to Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, which is the highest of all what you can achieve. So those were some of the points I could gather and assimilate. Thank you for the opportunity, and please forgive me for any of my shortcomings.